We've got respected Amir Saab UK with us today. Amir Saab, I know you're a big fan of charitable causes and and especially humanity first. What inspires you to get involved in these charitable causes or give to these charitable causes?
Well, it's basically one of the principal injunctions of Islam is that we should help humanity, right? Service to humanity is one of the principal. And I think that is the thing that inspires any Muslim to go and help others. And on top of that, we are very blessed in this country that we have the institution of Khilafat. And Khilafat gives us direction which is so properly targeted that once we follow that, we cannot go wrong. And this is the key to the success of our we are a very small community in relation to the overall people. We are a very small community in this country. We started when I first came here in the 1960s, late 60s. This Jamaat was only a few hundred people. That's the time when we went to the mosque in the winter months. We didn't have enough heating in the mosque. So we used to say prayers in the 62 Melrose Road, which was in the sitting room there. And during the summer, when we did have the facility available, there used to be a curtain. There used to be men at the front and women at the back. So it just shows you from those humble beginnings. And at that stage, in the initial stages, the UK Jamaat, before we had the influx of people from East Africa, the East African community used to support. And if you look at history, you will find that the pioneer Murabbis who came to these countries, whether it was Africa or Europe, Karmala Zafar Saab, for instance, in Spain, he used to sell perfume to earn his living and do tabligh at the same time. And those people who went to Africa, you have heard about how difficult it was sometimes. They had to eat leaves to survive. Absolutely. And so that is where the Jamaat starts, right? And by the grace of Allah, their sacrifices, I was reading today an article where they said that in Africa, the largest growing faith is, of course, Islam. But from that, Ahmadiyyat, they said, was the biggest growth sector within Islam. And these are from those humble beginnings of the pioneers who came to this country. And they had nothing. They came with nothing. They had absolutely nothing. And even in this country, in the initial stages when the Jamaat started, we had started from very humble beginnings. In fact, in relation to charity, one of the first things when Khilafat came to the UK, Hazur Akhtas decided that we should organize marathon walks for youth and the elders. It had a dual purpose. One was good for health of people, and secondly, we could raise money for good causes. And the first charity walk, which I was very much involved with, we raised about £1,500. And Hazur said that today we are raising £1,500, but there will come a time when we will be raising millions of pounds. Yes, and by the grace of Allah, in this very short period, under the guidance of Khilafat, we are now at a stage where we are raising millions of pounds. And that very small Jamaat, it was our parents who were the bread earners at that stage. Their children now have come through, and by the grace of Allah, their sacrifices are now coming to fruition. And today, the same children from those earlier families are giving huge sacrifices. But I think one of the biggest things that we have in this country, especially, is the blessing of Khilafat. Absolutely. The fact that we have Khilafat giving us constant guidance, constant direction, even in the COVID period. Immediately, who other leader has said that?
Absolutely.
Nobody. So Hazur, after having given us direction as to how we should conduct ourselves, how we should try and keep ourselves safe, he gave homeopathic medication and all the that we should follow government guidelines strictly. The next thing he said is, see how you can go and help your community, right? He said, reach out, go and help. And immediately, every Jamaat throughout the country, they were out there helping our frontline workers. They were helping the poor, those people who couldn't go leave the houses. We helped set up helplines. People could ring and we would deliver food, warm food, clothing, groceries, whatever was needed,
Absolutely.
medication, whatever was needed. And we were getting a lot of, besides the internal setup of the Jamaat itself, trying to help our own people, we're getting a lot of calls from outside.
Of course, you've been here in the United Kingdom, as you said, from the 60s, so you very well know the mentality and the social situations of people that are here. But one thing that's being very pertinent in the news right now and coming up a lot is this concept of food poverty and this shortage of food and this poverty, epidemic of poverty that's taking place in the United Kingdom. What kind of problems do you see this creating in society, and what would be your message to the people that are watching in right now to do something about it?
I mean, this is Allah telling these richest nations that, I mean, America, which is undoubtedly the most rich nation in the world,
Yeah.
I am seeing how people are queuing up in their 4x4s just to collect food because they haven't got anything to eat. And even in this country, alhamdulillah, I think we have a much better system in this country where, because of the social security and the poverty net that the government has for the people of this country, makes it better. But even in this country, there are thousands and thousands of people who have nothing to eat, in spite of that. And therefore, Humanity First has taken the initiative that they have opened up a food bank in the north as one of hopefully many food banks that it will open, inshallah. And today, by the grace of Allah, we are at the forefront at every, whether it is I remember I was working in MTA when we had the Kobe disaster. And we were able to send Khudam out immediately to the affected area. And they were serving hot food to those people. This is going back many, many years. And I remember we used to do a call from Japan to London for our news items, where we would give it the latest news of what our teams used to do there. But that is the same whether it's Katrina or whether it was disaster Haiti, any of these disasters around the world, whether it's China, India, Pakistan. Our teams, by the grace of Allah, it is purely because of the direction of Khilafat. We have very little resources, but those resources, we can make them count. Because, other organizations, they get millions of pounds, billions of pounds sometimes from governments, but they have such huge infrastructure, such huge administration. And here in our Jamaat, with our little resources, we can go much further than they can. Because it is people are giving their time. Our engineers are happy to go out to Africa, personally go and dig wells there. Our doctors are happy to go out anywhere in the world to help poor people. And this gift of sight, for instance, I mean, there are poor people in Africa who have lost their sight, and for a very small amount of money, you can restore their sight. Can you imagine a 5-year-old girl who is seeing her parents for the first time, the joy and the emotions of that young child? And a little bit of help from us can make that happen. And the other thing is that, as I mentioned, that alhamdulillah, our parents made the sacrifices before us, and they gave whatever they had for the help of humanity. Now Allah has blessed us manifold as a result of the sacrifices that our parents made. It's purely Allah's blessing, nothing else. And if Allah has blessed us, then we would be failing if we were not doing the same thing and giving generously to help those poor people around the world.
Absolutely.
Because one day, when you appear in front of God, God is going to say, so what did you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Allah, I had a big car, I had this, I had that. What did you do for humanity?
Exactly.
Right? And that is what we should be thinking about. We should look at and see what is it that we can do to bring about change to those very poor people who deserve a better gift from us than they have at this moment in time. And whether it is Water for Life, or the gift of sight, whether it's schooling or hospitals, or whatever it is, by the grace of Allah, with our limited resources that we are trying to get out and establish there. Inshallah, Hazur said, £1,500 is going to millions. And inshallah, within our lifetime, we've seen that materialize. and inshallah it's only going to grow from here.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you, Amir Saab, about what message would you have for our audience, but I think you've articulated it beautifully with a couple of very inspiring stories. And I really love listening to you speak because you talk about the history of the Jamaat and where it was and where we are now. And touching on the message that you just said about Hazur saying from 1,500 will go to millions, just for our viewers out there, and obviously for you as well, Amir Saab, we've actually raised £57,000 now. But like Mansoor Saab said, that's not where we want to finish up. So please do keep donating. Amir Saab has given us some amazing, amazing insights. But Amir Saab, while you're here, you should take the advantage because I know a lot of people listen to you. What message would you have for our audience?
Well, my message to everyone is that, one of the purposes of our Jamaat, particularly, is to be service to humanity. I know that a lot of our both young men and women, old and young, all alike, are giving a lot of their time and resources and facilities to help other people. I think we can go even further because there is nobody in the UK who can say, oh, well, I haven't got anything. We all have. Rather than going on a holiday where we may, without thinking, spend £10,000, right? We go with 5 children, go hotel, air travel, and everyone does it. Well, maybe this year we say, right, we are not going on holiday, COVID here, let's give it to a good cause. Let's give it to humanity first. And maybe, from that, we will get the satisfaction that we have done something good in our lives. And that, we have helped maybe 100 young girls who lost their eyesight and they're able to see because of our donation. Or we have, fed 10,000 people from our donation. So we should aspire high. The more we give, the more Allah will return. If you do business with Allah, let me tell you this, you'll never fall short. I can tell you from, when we came to this country, we didn't have anything. I started by earning my pocket money by doing paper round. 5 o'clock in the morning, I used to get up and go and do paper round. And then Saturday, I used to go to work in a grocery shop. And I remember I was very good at hockey. I was a school hockey captain. I was selected for London schoolboys. I didn't go.
Okay.
My teacher was furious. Said, why? I said, well, I can't give up my Saturday job because otherwise I want to earn money. So, but today, by the grace of Allah, Allah has given everything. Nothing, I can say. In every, Allah has given me good health. Allah has given me good wife, children, and everything that a man could want.
Yeah.
So if that is the case with other people, and then they fall short in not being able to return something, then I think one day we'll be able to be answerable for that. And but never forget, Allah has given you so much, and there are people out there who have got nothing. So we've got to go and help them.
Absolutely. I think a very heartfelt gratitude to Amir Saab for coming and giving us his inspiring words. You've heard it from Amir Saab, you've heard it from all of our guests. The fact of the matter is that we are living lives of luxury. And the things that we can often, unfortunately, take for granted are those things that people around the world often don't have.